tide. When the storm gets rough, we ain't gonna hide. Pop and get us swilling, but it won't touch me. Only love around, that's how it's gonna be. Keep moving forward, never looking back. The truth's in the power, it's an unstoppable track. In the city lights where dreams collide, we hustle through the night, fire in our stride. Whispers in the dark can't dim my glow. With rhythm in my soul, I'm ready for the show. We break the chains, rewrite the rules in this concrete jungle where nobody's fools. Unity sings louder than the lies they scheme. In the heart of the struggle, we dare to dream. Keep moving forward, never looking back. The truth's in the power, it's an unstoppable track.
Another Queen Ahmadiyyah production.
Haze on the corner, they talking real loud. Spreading on light, trying to bring me down. Enemies lurking, but I won't back away. Got a vision in my mind, I'm here to stay. Put my crew beside me, we rise like a tide. When the storm gets rough, we ain't gonna hide. Pop and get us swilling, but it won't touch me. Only love around, that's how it's gonna be. Keep moving forward, never looking back. The truth's in the power, it's an unstoppable track. In the city lights where dreams collide, we hustle through the night, fire in our stride. Whispers in the dark can't dim my glow. With rhythm in my soul, I'm ready for the show. We break the chains, rewrite the rules in this concrete jungle where nobody's fools. Unity sings louder than the lies they scheme. In the heart of the struggle, we dare to dream. Keep moving forward, never looking back. The truth's in the power, it's an unstoppable track. Haze on the corner, they talking real loud. Spreading on light, trying to bring me down. Enemies lurking, but I won't back away. Got a vision in my mind, I'm here to stay. Got my crew beside me, we rise like a tide. When the storm gets rough, we ain't gonna hide. Pop and get us swilling, but it won't touch me. Only love around, that's how it's gonna be. Keep moving forward, never looking back. The truth's in the power, it's an unstoppable track. In the city lights where dreams collide, we hustle through the night, fire in our stride. Whispers in the dark can't dim my glow. With rhythm in my soul, I'm ready for the show. We break the chains, rewrite the rules in this concrete jungle where nobody's fools. Unity sings louder than the lies they scheme. In the heart of the struggle, we dare to dream.
All right. Hello, everyone. Grand Rising. Thanks for tuning back in once again to the original Queen Ahmadiyyah Shakur show. I'm your host, Queen Ahmadiyyah Shakur, and this is your morning wake-up call. So as you're coming in, please feel free to go ahead and subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so already. Be sure to click that notification bell and click the word all so you're notified each time the Queen Goddess goes live. All right. Hello, Dark Tube. Claudette is in the virtual building. Above all that drama, Nessa G. We the people. Leon is here. All right, let's get ready to get into it. Everybody hit that like button. All right, Lady Painter. All right, let's get into it. Dynamic Quality is here. Okay, DJ Big Six. AO God is here. All right, let's get into it. Now, with that all being said, before we get started, let's have a brief word from my sponsor at 12 Tribes.
Do not buy 12 Tribes on Earth hair growth oil and hair magic elixir unless you want super healthy, gorgeous hair that grows. They have a whole line of amazing hair growth products, including hair growth leave-in conditioner spray, hair growth shampoo, hair growth spray, and hair growth butter. I'm starting to sense a theme here. They include quality natural ingredients. They smell amazing, and you can see the results for yourself. So if you're looking for healthy hair growth for your natural or relaxed hair, try 12 Tribes on Earth today.
Okay, so don't forget you can purchase 12 Tribes hair oil at Etsy.com. Just look for Lisa Crafts. You can also find it at Walmart.com. Okay, and don't forget that she sells beard oil. Okay, so I'm waiting for this video to queue. So while I'm waiting for that, they have a few ads to play before it actually starts. Let's go to this Asian woman this video I just saw on X where she says, "Stop asking Black people to show up to protest ICE." Okay, let's get into it. Now, I haven't seen this video, but I'm pretty sure it's going to be interesting. Likes up, everyone. Please like and share. Also, don't forget to double check and make sure you're still subscribed, especially if you have not been receiving your notifications. All right, here we go.
I've been hearing about other minorities asking Black people to show up and protest against ICE. Ask the Asians instead. Our shit's already being rocked. The working class ones are going to be targeted by ICE just like the Latino community. Hell, a bunch of us are already being deported and often to the wrong country. And then as for the richer ones, Trump has already banned all Chinese students from coming to the US to study and has banned all international students from coming to Harvard, which affects a whole lot of Asian international students. So anybody who looks Chinese, even if they're a US citizen, is going to be affected by this. He's put several South Asian countries on the travel ban list. So yeah, brown Asians are going to be affected too. Anyway, our voting numbers look very similar to Latinos. Just over half of us voted for Kamala and the rest went for Trump. We couldn't just fucking listen to Black people when they told us to vote for the Black lady who wasn't going to take all our civil rights away. And now we want them to come save our asses when they're getting whooped. Also, have you maybe considered that the feds want Black people to show up to the protests? Because then they have an excuse to escalate the violence. Then they have an excuse to call them riots. We saw what happened with the peaceful protests in 2020 after George Floyd was killed by a policeman. Also, if you've been paying any attention at all, Black people have been showing up to support Latinos who are potentially being deported. Look at all the videos from Compton. Just type Compton in your search bar. So why don't we do this? Why don't we let Black people make their own decisions? Stop expecting them to be your personal avengers. Mobilize the Asians. I know that if I'm in front of a cop at a protest, he's going to think twice about doing anything to me. He's not going to give me the same grace as a white person, but he's definitely going to give me more than he gives a Black person. And if you can't go to a protest, just fucking say something, especially if you live in California. Asians, I know there's a lot of you over there. I was born in the Bay Area, so I feel like I should say something. Anyway, yeah, mobilize the Asians. Stay safe out there.
Okay, y'all heard what the lady said, and at the end of the day, she's right. I told you all that days ago that I absolutely believe that the feds want us out there, and so do the white folk. Okay, the first line of defense. We would be immediately attacked. Now, let's go to this clip. I want you all to see this clip of a woman as she tries to file a complaint against a nefarious cop and how he's trying to give her a hard time. Because this is something that happens on a regular basis. Matter of fact, I know that I did a special report on this about 5 years ago.
Don't try to intimidate me and don't try to antagonize me. So me and you already had a conversation. You're racist. Get out of my face. I've already spoke to the chief of police.
Well, who do you want to speak?
Not you. Get out of my face. I'm here to file a complaint against you. Get out of my face. Get out of my face. Get out of my face.
You're not going to chase me out of my own PD lobby.
Get out of my face. Get out of my face.
I'll just wait here till the other sergeant shows up.
You want to wait at? I'm saying just like this. Get out of my face. Get out of my face. Stop trying to intimidate me and stop trying to antagonize me. Get out of my face.
You're the antagonistic person.
And you're antagonistic too. Get out of my face. Get out of my face. This is.
Now, it's so blatantly obvious that he's trying to antagonize this woman as well as intimidate her, just as she is alleging. Because why does he have to be anywhere near her? She's not there to speak to him. Why does he have to be all up in her face? Just continue.
The same thing you did to me last time, and I'm gonna remain here too. We'll just stand here together.
If that gets much closer to my face,
if you're closer to me, I've been standing here. You're in my face. I've been standing here. You're in my face. I've been standing here. You're in my face. I was standing here before you. You're walking in my face. You're in my face, and you know you are. You're in my face. I've been standing here. You're in my face. That's why you're looking at me like that. That's the same thing you did to me the other day, racist cop. And I'm not moving.
Routine. She's just causing a huge disturbance.
I might be causing a disturbance, but I was standing here before you, politely sitting there. So you're causing a disturbance. What? Because I'm black and I'm a woman, I'm causing disturbance?
Okay. So, Sergeant
I'm not
McCabe-
talking to you right
Sergeant
now.
McCabe
I'm
will
not
be in here to
bothering
take
you.
your
I'm not
complaint.
bothering you.
Okay.
I would prefer to speak to the chief of police, being that you're in my face antagonizing me. You called the whole back up on me for what? I was sitting over there minding my business.
We can talk in this room right quick, and then we can wait for, I can get it.
Can I ask you who you are before I move forward? Because I don't know you. I was speaking to the chief of police and the city manager. I don't know why. I got people here. I was with the city manager and the chief of police on Monday complaining about Mr. Antagonistic Bear. And I don't need them to send you to me because you're black. It doesn't work like that.
That doesn't matter. I'm Detective Bruno. I was just gonna have you.
Why would you give me? Why did they send me a detective? Like, why did you come, sir? Did I cause that much disturbance around here? I was sitting here minding my business.
I don't know what was happening with him, but you obviously didn't want to speak with him.
Exactly, and he kept antagonizing me. He followed me all from over there. He followed me over here. Y'all pulled a tape, just like he treated me bad the other day. I'm done talking because you guys are here. You're defending each other with your suits and stuff. Just leave me alone. Leave me alone.
He's a supervisor.
Yeah, the lieutenant, they buddies and friends. They work together, and I'll wait to speak to the chief of police. I don't want to speak to anybody else. Y'all already had y'all huddle to get down here to talk to me, and I'm done with you two and you three. Please. Thank y'all so much for y'all time and hospitalities.
You all heard that? She said, thank you very much for your time and hospitality, Sonny. Okay. I mean, because really all they're going to do is defend him, right? At the end of the day, they're already on code, Robert. You're absolutely right, beloved. Okay. She told them. All right. And she did not back down. I absolutely love it. He was sitting there trying to straight up bully her and intimidate her, this ugly self. He was a whole racist. It was obvious to see. Now, before we get into today's news, hold on, because there is a MAGA pastor, if I'm not mistaken, who got caught with his hand in the cookie jar. Nasty freak. Here we go right here. Yep, sad but true. Another one bites the dust. All right. There he is right here. Now let's get into it because it says this is Zachary Radcliffe, another MAGA PDF file, who was arrested after a tip for child S crimes, including having children 12 to 17 years of age, send him pictures of them. Dirty devil. See, Zachary was a youth pastor and played music, okay, to large crowds, including people like Trump and his family. Don't y'all find this interesting? Because I sure do. How many PDF files could Trump possibly know? Let's not forget his spiritual advisor, previous spiritual advisor. Okay, what he got arrested for.
Thanking God that you're still breathing, hearing a newborn baby cry, like raising your head.
The man you just saw in that video was 29-year-old youth pastor Zachary Radcliffe. Before his arrest, Zachary was very active and outspoken in the political world, and he was deeply involved in his church. But as it turns out, Zachary was a hardcore pedophile. Zachary was arrested last year after authorities were given a tip. And when they investigated him, what they found was nothing short of disturbing. Since at least 2011, Zachary had been molesting children whose ages ranged from 12 to 17 years old. He had also been soliciting these children to have them send him sexually abusive material. And while all this was going on, he was playing for large crowds and hanging out with the political elite. So Zachary was finally arrested in October of 2024. Zachary was finally arrested in 2024. And in 2025, this is what the judge presiding over his case had to say. I don't say this lightly at all, not how I operate my life, and certainly not how I operate as a judge. But in my 25 so plus years, I've seen a lot. This ranks up with one of the most egregious predators I have ever seen as it regards individuals. Thankfully, I think Zachary's going to be in prison for a long time, but it always seems like these groups, like youth groups at churches, attract the worst of the worst from society. For a guy like Zachary, he might have seen an open buffet.
Well, sadly, that's exactly what the freak saw. And let me tell you something. I've told you all I know quite a few times how one of my professors in college, who also worked in law enforcement as well as being a criminal justice professor, she talked about how people who are predators of children, how they very often get jobs that put them in proximity to people's children. And I have found that to be true throughout my life. These people will be youth pastors. They will be camp counselors, little league coaches. They will work with Boys of America, or Boy Scouts of America, Girl Scouts. These are the jobs that they will engage in. They will be daycare providers, school teachers. These are the types of jobs that these people often get into because they know that they will be put in a position of authority over people's children. Okay? And these are also the same type of people that children are told to trust and to listen to and to obey by their own parents. Think about it. Okay, so you have to be very careful, and you should be talking to your children about certain things, people touching them in certain places, saying certain things that are inappropriate to them, telling them to keep secrets from mommy and daddy, telling them things like nobody needs to know. If you say anything, someone's going to get hurt. You should be talking to your children and grandchildren about all of those things. A lot of predators out here, and especially with today's technology, it's very easy for people to do malicious things online. And half of these people are not paying attention to what their children are consuming when they go online. Okay, now let's continue because Representative Ilhan Omar was attacked and someone sprayed a nasty liquid on her that was in a syringe. Now let's get into it because I find this absolutely nefarious. And I can't help but think that this likely has something to do with the hateful things and rhetoric spewed about her and other Somalians by the Trump administration, no less.
Of ICE observer whistles descending on an Indian restaurant in Minneapolis after a group tracked 2 off-duty federal immigration agents eating dinner inside. The observers are part of a neighborhood grassroots network some figures in the Trump administration have labeled domestic terrorists.
Hey guys, I'm on Franklin Ave, just patrolling back and forth towards Lindale.
Local citizens tracking and documenting ICE operations in real time. CNN saw how a local group operates from the inside.
We're on Franklin Avenue, and the request is for us to sort of keep an eye on this strip.
This woman is fearful and didn't want to be named or show her face on camera. She drives through her neighborhood, scanning for signs of ICE activity, staying in constant contact with other volunteer observers, mostly through the encrypted chat platform Signal, ready to alert others if agents appear.
I think people do this work because it works. Finding an ICE car and observing what it's doing will deter ICE from activity. I've seen more people jump in over the past 2 weeks than I ever have.
Through local meetings and group chats, thousands of observers coordinate across the Twin Cities.
Not ICE, I think.
You were just looking to see if that car was ICE.
Okay, I don't have time for this. I don't even know how I got here. How in the world did I get here? Now I'm on board with them tracking ICE. That's not what I was looking for at all, beloveds. I was looking for the video of Ilhan Omar getting sprayed. Okay, I think we have it here. Okay, that was obviously a video that started playing after the video because I forgot to pause it, I'm sure. Okay, here we go.
Where Democratic Congresswoman Ilhan Omar was assaulted last night during a town hall. You can see here a man sprayed her with an unknown substance. Does not appear that she was hurt, but it comes as new details emerge about the shooting death of VA nurse Alex Pretti. A memo obtained by CBS News from Customs and Border Protection does not line up with what DHS officials originally claimed. Our chief correspondent, Matt Gutman, is in Minneapolis. Matt, good morning.
Vlad, good morning. What stood out most from that memo from Customs and Border Protection was what it omitted. It did not mention that Alex Pretti had been brandishing a gun, as government officials had alleged. And just as things seem to have calmed down here, that frightening moment last night with Representative Ilhan Omar sprayed with that unknown substance. Now, she's been a frequent target of President Trump, and it happened in front of dozens of people.
Kristi Noem must resign.
Just as Congresswoman Ilhan Omar called for Department of Homeland Security Secretary Kristi Noem to step down, Police say 55-year-old Anthony Kamirzak charged at her during that town hall Tuesday night, using a syringe to spray an unknown substance before being tackled to the ground. Despite safety concerns, Omar, insistent, continued the event.
Here is the reality that people like this ugly man don't understand. We are Minnesota strong, and we will stay resilient in the face of whatever they might throw at us.
The attack followed yesterday's release of the first Customs and Border Protection internal report on the shooting of Alex Pretti on Saturday, the second fatal shooting by federal agents in 3 weeks here. The memo sent to congressional staff and obtained by CBS News said one Border Patrol agent yelled, "He's got a gun," multiple times before two federal officers opened fire at Pretti as he was on the ground. There was no mention of the 37-year-old brandishing a gun, as DHS Secretary Noem had claimed soon after the shooting.
I don't like that he had a gun. Despite that, I say that's very unfortunate.
President Trump said Tuesday his new on-the-ground commander, Border Czar Tom Homan, is part of a new effort to, quote, de-escalate a little bit.
There has clearly been a change in tone as America watched that video.
Minnesota Senator Amy Klobuchar told us the federal pullback in Minneapolis has begun and that President Trump's change in field commanders signals a change in direction for the operation.
So would you say that this is a different but the same operation?
I have not agreed with everything that Mr. Homan has said in the past or done, but I believe the intent is to change this and bring these agents out.
On Tuesday, CBS News confirmed a federal judge blocked the deportation of 5-year-old Liam Conejo Ramos and his father, a case that drew national attention last week after federal agents detained them in their driveway after the boy returned home from school.
Now, police tell me that the Congresswoman was uninjured, but they're still trying to determine what that foul-smelling substance was. In the meantime, that suspect is being held in county jail, arrested on assault charges. He has a record of 10 DUIs, but Gail has not had his first court appearance yet.
Low down dirty dog. I wonder what that substance was, honey. Ilhan should have gone to her and gotten her a kick or two in when they had him down. Spraying that on her. No telling what it was. And it had a foul stench to it. Did you all see the video a few weeks ago, maybe 2 or 3, where the Karen went up to this black woman in her car and emptied a urine bag on her? You know how people have those colostomy bags? She had one filled with urine and sprayed it on the lady. When I tell you, baby, when I tell you, that would have gone so wrong, so wrong, so wrong, so wrong, so wrong. If that had been me, baby, I promise you. That would have gone all the way to the left. Do y'all hear me? Do y'all hear me? Absolutely egregious. Now, with that all being said, let's continue. Because I find it very interesting. I find it very interesting what Stephen Miller had to say. We're going to get into it in just a minute. But first, let's talk about the shooting in Arizona. Because they say the suspect was involved in an alleged human trafficking incident. Now, I'll tell you what, when this report came out yesterday of a shooting in Arizona, well, I said, okay, this must have been justified because we didn't see them come running to tell the story and try to paint the narrative like they always do. We didn't hear them coming doing that and posting fake pictures of guns that they clearly got off of Google. So I said this one must have been justified. Okay, so here's what they say. Suspect sought in connection with an alleged human trafficking incident was shot during an exchange of gunfire with U.S. Border Patrol in Arizona on Tuesday, according to authorities. Now, the shooting occurred early Tuesday morning in Arivaca, located approximately 10 miles from the border, according to Pima County Sheriff Chris Nanos. The Border Patrol agents were attempting to make a traffic stop on a vehicle when the passengers and the vehicle fled. An agent located the vehicle later that morning and attempted to make a second traffic stop. When they made that traffic stop, the lone occupant, the driver, fled on foot. Okay, Nano said this during a press briefing on Tuesday. They say the Border Patrol agent chased after him on foot. Shortly thereafter, shots were fired from the suspect and the agent returned fire. During the incident, the suspect shot at a manned CBP helicopter, according to Heath Jank, special agent in charge of the FBI Phoenix division. Now, the suspect was struck by the return gunfire and is in serious but stable condition, according to Nanos. No agents are believed to have been injured. Now, the suspect identified by the FBI is Patrick Gary Scheigel, 34 years old, of Sahuarita, Arizona, is in custody. He has a significant criminal history, including an active federal arrest warrant issued last year by the U.S. Marshal Service for escape related to a previous federal alien smuggling conviction. Okay, sounds nefarious. And Scheigel is expected to be charged via federal criminal complaint with assault on a federal officer, alien smuggling, and felon in possession of a firearm in connection with Tuesday's shooting, according to Jank. Now, the Department of Homeland Security said in a statement Tuesday that the incident remains under investigation and more information will be provided when available. The sheriff's office said it's leading the use of force investigation involving the agents at the request of the FBI. All right, so that's what they say happened with the incident from yesterday. Yep, DJ Big Six, that's what they said, honey, smuggling, okay? Now, with that all being said, let's get into it because they've been doing some lying. They have been doing a whole lot of lying, okay? If you want to know who, it's the entire Trump administration, but specifically, let's talk about Scott Bissent. Scott Bessent knows he sat up there and lied on Mark Carney, the Prime Minister of Canada. We're about to get into it. These people are just some liars who lie. I mean, the truth just is not in them, beloveds. Everything that comes out of their mouth, just no truth whatsoever. Now, listen to this man lie. Then I'm going to play the video of Carney saying the exact opposite.
Well, tell us how you really feel about it, Gavin.
Sean, good to be with you. And look, I used to be a teacher, and there's always one poor kid in the class who can't keep up and gets very frustrated. We know Kamala Harris couldn't keep up, so she would start laughing. Tim Walz would start shaking. Gavin Newsom lashes out. And I believe Gavin Newsom had to go all the way to Switzerland to see all the CEOs that he chased out of California.
Largest tax cuts in history. No tax on tips, overtime. Working people are helped. No tax on Social Security. That helps the elderly. We have the lowest gas prices in 4 years. We have inflation now finally in check. We have literally trillions in manufacturing, committed manufacturing dollars accelerated by 100% depreciation, 4.3% in the third quarter, GDP growth. Atlanta Fed predicting 5.4% for the fourth quarter. What does that mean to the average American?
Sean, it means that President Trump's policies that we put in place last year are really starting to kick in now. I'm excited to go with him to Iowa tomorrow, and he is going to tell a great story, and he can tell it like no one else can tell it. And as you said, this is the one big beautiful bill kicking in on the business side. Full expensing. We've got a CapEx boom. CapEx boom is going to lead to an employment boom. Employment boom leads to a consumer spending boom. And then on the other side, as you said, his signature policies: no tax on tips, no tax on overtime, no tax on Social Security, deductibility of American-made cars. He's keeping his promises to working Americans. We announced the tax season is now open, and we're going to see substantial refunds for working Americans. They're going to change their withholding and have bigger take-home pays every 2 weeks, every month. So it's really an exciting time. And, you know, Sean, we've done it all with lower government spending. So we brought down...
Americans are about to feel the impact, finally, now that January is here, of the president's economic policies. Working men and women will feel and see the difference every week.
And of course, and Sean, as you said, inflation's coming back down towards the Fed's target. we're seeing rents drop, we're seeing gasoline drop, we're seeing President Trump out there fighting every day for lower drug costs, and we're going to see that. And again, affordability has two components, and we're going to see real wages go up for working Americans. So controlling cost, wages up, and as I said, these big tax refunds. So I think we're going to have a boom in 2026. And Sean, the important thing here is it's going to be a non-inflationary boom, and I think it could really extend for several years.
And interest rates will be down significantly. They're already down quite a bit. Let's talk about the Prime Minister, or if you prefer, Governor of Canada, and him threatening to, break economic alliances with the U.S., go with China. The president has threatened a 100% tariff.
Now, please pay attention, because this is where he starts to lie, beloveds.
What impact would that have?
It would be a disaster for Canada. I was in the Oval with the president today. He spoke to Prime Minister Carney, who was very aggressively walking back some of the unfortunate remarks he made at Davos. And Sean, I'm not sure what the Prime Minister was thinking. Of course, Canada depends on the U.S. There's much more north-south trade than there could ever be east-west trade. He talks about middle countries having to do their own thing. And I'm old enough to remember when French President Francois Mitterrand tried to go down that route. It failed back in the 80s. It'll fail now. And Canada is linked to the U.S., and the Prime Minister should do what's best for the Canadian people rather than trying to push his own globalist agenda.
And he's trying to tell the Prime Minister of Canada what he needs to do. Sir, you're hardly qualified. With that all being said, you all heard what he said he was aggressively on the phone, walking back everything that he said in Davos. This is what he says about Canadian Prime Minister Mark Carney. So first, let's go to what he said in Davos, and then let's go to what he said after, since Mr. Bessent claims that he walked it back aggressively when he was on the phone call with Trump. This is Davos.
We knew the story of the international rules-based order was partially false, that the strongest would exempt themselves when convenient, that trade rules were enforced asymmetrically. And we knew that international law applied with varying rigor depending on the identity of the accused or the victim. This fiction was useful, and American hegemony in particular helped provide public goods, open sea lanes, a stable financial system, collective security, and support for frameworks for resolving disputes. So we placed the sign in the window. We participated in the rituals, and we largely avoided calling out the gaps between rhetoric and reality. This bargain no longer works. Let me be direct. We are in the midst of a rupture, not a transition. Over the past 2 decades, a series of crises in finance, health, energy, and geopolitics have laid bare the risks of extreme global integration. But more recently, great powers have begun using economic integration as weapons.
Pay close attention to what he says here, because he's talking about none other than Trump. Okay? Great powers have used weapons integration as weapons, tariffs. Okay, he's talking about Trump.
Tariffs as leverage, financial infrastructure as coercion, supply chains as vulnerabilities to be exploited. You cannot live within the lie of mutual benefit through integration when integration becomes the source of your subordination.
Okay, no lies detected. Now that's what he said in Davos, Switzerland. But now let's go to what he has said since then. Because Mr. Bessent said that he was aggressively backpedaling, dare I say.
I said this to the president. I meant what I said in
in Davos. It was clear, it was a broader set of issues, that Canada was the first country to understand the change in U.S. trade policy that he had initiated, and we're responding to that. We're responding positively by building partnerships abroad. We're responding positively by building at home, and we're prepared to respond positively by building that new relationship through CUSMA. He understood that, and it was a good conversation, as I said.
So you didn't walk back your comments?
Okay, that man said what he said. Did y'all hear him? Did y'all hear him? That man said what he said. So I'm sorry, but Bessent and Trump are lying. Talking about that man aggressively walked it back. No, he didn't. That man said, I said what I said, and I meant what I said in Davos. Okay? Make no mistake about it. They can sit up here and lie and try to paint this little narrative of how they want us to think everything is going, but this is all going downhill real fast for them. Okay, now the Arizona Attorney General, Chris Mays, was explaining how to legally shoot ICE officers. That's right, you heard it. I want y'all to pay attention. She is telling her people, she was on an interview and she basically was telling them what you can do and how to get away with it. At least that's how it sounded to me. Okay, please pay attention. I'm going to put an overlay on this because I'm not sure who conducted this interview, but that's what she said. She was telling them the rule of law about Arizona being a stand your ground state. It sounded like she was giving a dog whistle, is all I'm saying. Okay, please pay attention. Sounded like she was giving a dog whistle.
Built up is happening, Bram, is that we're a stand your ground state. We have one of the most expansive stand your ground laws in the entire country that rivals even Florida. We also have a lot of guns in Arizona. We're a gun culture in this state. And, you know, it's kind of a recipe for disaster because you have these masked federal officers with very little identification, sometimes no identification, wearing plain clothes and masks. And we have a stand your ground law that says that if you reasonably believe that your life is in danger and you're in your house or your car or on your property, that you can defend yourself with lethal force.
I want to be careful with that and understand what you're saying because you know how that could be interpreted.
Well, but it's the fact. It's the fact that we have a stand your ground law and we have in other states ununiformed, masked people who can't be identified as police officers. That is a problem. That's why it's so important to have uniforms and to be identified, especially in a state like like Arizona that has a stand your ground on. Now, if someone were to, now you're not allowed to shoot peace officers.
So let's put a big pause there and go into that question because
how do you know
some might say you are giving a license to an individual to shoot a peace officer.
No, absolutely not. But how do you know they're a peace officer? That's the key. And so if there's a situation where somebody pulls out their gun because they know Arizona is a stand your ground state, then it becomes, did they reasonably know that they were a peace officer? You know, I mean, this is a different set of circumstances in the state of Arizona. And so,
but to be clear,
you know, I mean,
it's ironic because this is a Second Amendment issue.
This is a Second Amendment issue. This, I mean,
but to be clear, you're not telling folks you have license if you are threatened.
Well,
to shoot a peace officer.
No, but again, if you're being attacked by someone who is not identified as a peace officer, how do you know? I mean, if somebody comes at me wearing a mask, by the way, I'm a gun owner. If somebody comes at me wearing a mask and I can't tell whether they're a police officer, what am I supposed to do? Honestly, Bram, look what happened in Minnesota to the two legislators, one of whom was killed by a guy impersonating a police officer. That is why this is so incredibly incendiary. And again, it's a situation being caused by ICE and the federal government.
Okay, exactly. She said what she said, and at the end of the day, that's a very valid point. How are you supposed to know if these people are real agents? Okay, let's not forget, beloveds. I just did a story about a month ago. I showed you all the footage of these people, a Caucasian man and two of his friends, all of them Caucasian, going around with ice on their person, with the words ICE on them, pretending to be ICE agents so that they can frighten immigrants and get a laugh out of it. This is very serious because how do you know who's who? You running up on somebody and you're not identifying yourself and you got a mask on your face. The first thing I'm going to think is that you tried to abduct me. Okay, whole lot of trafficking going on. All right, I'm sorry. Say what? That's crazy. Now let's go to this other video where she was talking. They say Arizona AG Chris Mays doubles down on ICE criticism statement. She clearly doesn't like ICE, and who can blame her?
Arizona Attorney General Chris Mays releasing a new video statement addressing the deadly shooting in Minneapolis this weekend.
She spoke about her own comments and on ICE agents potentially clashing with Arizona's Stand Your Ground law. And now Mays' law enforcement liaison is out after the Democrats' comments this week. David Harvey resigned in a 2-sentence letter addressed to Mays. Republicans, as well as many law enforcement organizations, have called on her to resign after her comments, viewing it as a warning to ICE enforcement and arming Arizonans defending themselves. Dangerous. But Arizona's top cop says she's not going anywhere.
Trump administration surges a large number of poorly trained agents to our state. ICE's behavior is destroying the public's trust in law enforcement and putting every American, including local law enforcement, in danger. It will take years, if not decades, to undo the damage that has been done over the past 12 months.
Mays also says the critics have twisted her comments for political gain and that she's never wavered in supporting law enforcement. You can watch her full response on our website.
New at 5:30, Arizona Attorney General Chris Mays.
All right. Now, with that all being said, they're calling for Nome. That would be Christie, Stephen Miller, and Scott Bissent to be held accountable for jumping to ICE's defense for no reason and saying all of these disparaging and yet egregious things about Mr. Alex Pretti. Okay, and they have not issued an apology, and nor do I expect them to, because devils and narcissists don't apologize. They just blame everyone else and skirt their accountability.
Top story continues to be Minnesota with so many seemingly moving parts.
Yeah, the fallout continues this morning, Mika, from the fatal shooting of 37-year-old ICU nurse at the VA, Alex Pretti. MS Now has obtained the first official timeline of the incident, which undercuts many of the statements made by Trump administration officials in the immediate aftermath of the killing. Preliminary review from U.S. Customs and Border Protection makes no mention of Pretti brandishing a weapon or intending to do maximum damage and kill law enforcement, as Department of Homeland Security Secretary Kristi Noem and other officials claimed. The report, which was sent to lawmakers yesterday, also reveals 2 federal agents fired at Pretti after they say he resisted arrest. Questions remain about what exactly led agents to fire the fatal shots. When it comes to the investigation, sources tell MS Now the Justice Department has decided there will be no civil rights probe into the shooting. Instead, a Customs and Border Protection office will investigate its own officers, and another DHS unit, which normally focuses on human trafficking and national security threats, will look into whether Pretti broke any laws. Minnesota's Bureau of Criminal Apprehension says it is separately investigating the shooting, but has not been given access to any evidence or information from federal agencies. Meanwhile, White House Deputy Chief of Staff Stephen Miller appears to be distancing himself from the Department of Homeland Security amid growing criticism over Saturday's shooting. Miller, who initially labeled Alex Pretti as an assassin and a domestic terrorist, now says Customs and Border Protection agents in Minneapolis, quote, may not have been following proper protocol. The statement shared yesterday with MS Now, Miller wrote, the White House provided clear guidance to DHS that the extra personnel that had been sent to Minnesota for force protection should be used for conducting fugitive operations to create a physical barrier between the arrest teams and the disruptors. We're evaluating why the CBP team may not have been following that protocol. David Rode, significant politically because Stephen Miller is the architect of all of this, that he would distance himself in any way from what's happening in Minnesota. But to go back to the investigation for just a moment, this follows the pattern of the shooting death of Renee Good, which is federal agencies say, we'll handle this, we'll look into this. And as much as the Minnesota local and state officials are trying to investigate it, they're still not getting cooperation from the federal government.
Yeah, I came here this morning, wanted to talk about some of the big changes that have happened. The president has changed his tone. That's very significant. And you've got more Republicans following that way, speaking out in Congress like they haven't before. The attempt by Stephen Miller to separate himself from this, given what he said, given what he has said now for more than a decade about immigration, is false, I would say, or just unrealistic. And he was one of the primary backers of Kristi Noem and Bovino and others who carried out these aggressive tactics. So it's really Miller's responsibility here. It'll be interesting to see the dynamics.
Yeah, and now he is trying to back away from it. Okay, let's go to this next report where they're talking about Pretti's shooting. Stephen Miller admits possible protocol breach. Yeah, nobody wants anything to do with it now after they were so quick to come out there and disparage that poor man, okay, and act like he was a whole mass killer, a would-be mass killer, and all of this foolishness. Now the video evidence has shown that they were lying, okay, and that in fact the victim was shot after they had taken his weapon.
Administration, while the president says things in Minneapolis are going to, quote, de-escalate a bit. Homeland Security Secretary Kristi Noem and Stephen Miller, the president's powerful advisor, are taking heat over the deadly shooting of Alex Pretti and their statements after it. Miller described Pretti as a would-be assassin. Noem described him as a domestic terrorist. The videos clearly refuted those claims, and now Noem is facing growing bipartisan calls to resign, and Miller, in a rare retreat, is acknowledging agents may have breached protocol that he set or the White House set before the shooting. With us now, CNN's Betsy Klein and Jeff Zeleny. And first, I just want to hold up a flow chart, friend, of my understanding of the blame game here. There you can see, Homeland Security Secretary Kristi Noem is blaming Stephen Miller. Stephen Miller seems to be blaming Customs and Border Protection. Betsy, you're at the White House. Do I have that flow chart correct?
I think that's about an accurate assessment, John. And I just want to point to you to this very remarkable statement to our colleague Kristen Holmes from Stephen Miller yesterday. As you said, in the immediate aftermath of federal agents' killing of Alex Pretti on Saturday, we heard Stephen Miller go to social media almost immediately. He referred to Pretti as, quote, a domestic terrorist, also a would-be assassin. And you can believe that he was behind a lot of the messaging that was coming from this White House. But then last night, in this statement to our colleague Kristen Holmes, he says, quote, the White House had provided clear guidance to DHS that the extra personnel that had been sent to Minnesota for force protection should be used for conducting fugitive operations to create a physical barrier between the arrest teams and the disruptors. He goes on to say, we are evaluating why the CBP team may not have been following that protocol. He also says that some of the original statements that were coming from the Department of Homeland Security were, quote, based on reports from CBP on the ground. So clearly shifting blame there and notably not disputing that he was involved in those statements.
But not apologizing for them either, correct, Betsy?
Absolutely right.
Okay, and that's important because he said those things. He's blaming now CBP for giving him the information that led to those statements, but he is not apologizing. Jeff, bigger picture here, when you take a step back, this is very unusual from this Trump administration or any Trump administration for that matter. They have really conducted now about 3 retreats in the last week by my count. First on Greenland, first the idea no military action, definitely going to own it now. Maybe not so much. The president had to backtrack on saying NATO troops weren't on the front lines in Afghanistan, and now clearly backing off a little bit in Minneapolis. That's a lot different than we've seen before from this administration.
Yeah, at the end of the day, they've been proven liars. Okay, once the video footage came out from different angles showing that everything they said about that man was all lies, and then to add insult to injury, we find out that that wasn't even his gun, that it was a stock photo from Google. How much more idiotic could they look? Now let's go to this TikTok I did last night about Kristi Noem and how she needs to be held accountable. So does Stephen Miller. Hello, everyone. I'm Dr. Ahmadiyyah Shakur. So the cause for Kristi Noem's impeachment has picked up steam in the days since Alex Pretti, a VA intensive care unit nurse, lost his life to federal ICE agents. Now the measure has at least 150 co-sponsors. Let's get into it. So a growing number of Democrats is calling for the impeachment of Department of Homeland Security Secretary Kristi Noem. Now, while the odds of her removal remain long in the GOP-controlled Congress, the shift underscores the serious nature of an ongoing political crisis since the fatal incident in Minnesota, and it's prompted both a groundswell of activism from Democrats and rare Republican criticism of the White House. Please pay attention. Representative Robin Kelly says that Secretary Noem has blood on her hands and says that under her leadership, Alex Pretti and Renee Nicole Good lost their lives. Now, on January the 27th, House Minority Leader Hakeem Jeffries solidified the threat, saying if Trump doesn't fire Noem immediately, House Democrats will initiate impeachment proceedings. Please pay attention. Jeffries also added that we can do this the easy way or the hard way. And at the same time, even more centrist Senate Democrats who voted to confirm Noem last year have also been changing their tune and expressing regret. Senator John Fetterman, a Pennsylvania Democrat whose conservative tendencies often buck his party and who supported Noem's confirmation, is now urging Trump to fire her, though he didn't specifically use the word impeach. Fetterman said she's betraying DHS's core mission and trashing your border security legacy. This is what he wrote addressing the president in a January 27th social media post. Now, Nevada Democratic Senator Jackie Rosen, who cast a critical vote in November to end the longest ever government shutdown, wants Noem gone also. In her view, impeachment is the way to do it. She says, Kristi Noem has been an abject failure leading the Department of Homeland Security for the last year, and the abuses of power we're seeing from ICE are the latest proof that she's lost control over her own department and staff. Okay, this is what she said in the statement. Please pay attention. DHS Assistant Secretary Tricia McLaughlin denounced politicians that she says are defending criminals while at the same time criticizing law enforcement who are doing their job, which is much harder. McLaughlin also went on to say that DHS enforces the laws that Congress passes, period. And if certain members don't like the laws, it's literally their jobs to change them. Please pay attention. She says it's time they focus on protecting the American people, the work this department is doing every day under Secretary Noem's leadership. Now, mind you, this is the same leadership that defended DHS's response to taking the life of Pretti. And also said that he violently resisted as they tried to disarm him. And also that he came there to take out many law enforcement officials. Okay, yeah, that's the leadership that she wants people to be proud of. Okay, please pay attention. Okay, she needs to sit down somewhere and they need to hurry up and impeach her. What in the world is taking so long? Okay, I have several questions. And now TC Dan has a question. TC Dan wants to know if I heard about an ICE agent was blocked from entering the Ecuadorian consulate in Minneapolis. Isn't that something? I mean, what was he thinking? Let's go to the footage. These people are absolutely nefarious. Okay, I'm going to share my screen. You can't make it up. Lights up, everyone. Please like and share. Here we go.
Relax, relax. Okay, relax. I did not enter. If you touch me, I will grab you. If you touch me, I will grab you. You're. This is the club from Relax, relax. Okay, relax. I did not enter. If you touch me, I will grab you. If you touch me, I will grab you. Okay. Okay. You can know that. Okay, well, don't touch me.
And it also have they lost their minds? Clearly. Clearly they have. Now, here's what they report. The Ecuadorian Foreign Affairs Ministry says an immigration and customs enforcement agent tried to enter the country's consulate in Minneapolis on Tuesday, but was blocked by its staff. Now, consulate staff immediately prevented the ICE official from entering the consular building, thereby guaranteeing the protection of the Ecuadorians who found themselves in the consular building in that moment, and activated emergency protocols issued by the Ministry of Foreign Affairs and Human Movement. Okay, this is what the ministry said in a statement about the incident, which it says happened around 11 a.m. Now, in a video circulating on social media, and geolocated by NBC News to the consulate, an employee is seen pushing the door and opening it to a masked ICE agent. The agent tells the employee, "If you touch me, I will grab you." The employee replies, "You cannot enter here. This is a consulate. This is a foreign government property." According to the video, after the agent leaves, the consular employee says he's making a call. And another employee says that the agents had followed people there. The Ecuadorian Foreign Ministry said it had issued a note of protest to the U.S. Embassy in Ecuador over what it described as an attempted incursion, demanding such incidents not be repeated. The incident occurred during a mass deportation operation being conducted by some 3,000 heavily armed agents of ICE and the Border Patrol deployed to Minnesota under orders of President Donald Trump several weeks ago. Neither the State Department nor the Department of Homeland Security, which oversees ICE and the Border Patrol, immediately responded to requests for comment. Ecuador's foreign minister provided few other details, but eyewitnesses working in retail shops near the consulate said they saw immigration agents try to enter that building. These people are something else. Do y'all hear this? They will not be denied. But they had so much to say about Don Lemon going in that church just to do a report. Okay? I bet Pam Bondi is somewhere just clenching her fist and gritting her teeth as I speak. Because she said she's going to get Don Lemon by hook or by crook. Okay, I want y'all to pay attention. She has it in for him. Now, with that all being said, let's talk about Trump sending these fleets to Iran. This is breaking news. About an hour ago. Okay, this was reported actually about 3 hours ago. Trump sends massive fleet of warships to Iran. Talking about great power. Let's get into it. Lights up, everyone, please. Like and share. Thank you in advance.
To get to, and more developments coming out of Iran on this Wednesday morning. Taking a look here at a social media post that I want to bring up, posted by President Donald Trump. And this is on an armada that is being sent there. So this was via Truth Social, the president saying this, quote, "A massive armada is heading to Iran. It is moving quickly with great power, enthusiasm, and purpose. It is a larger fleet headed by the great aircraft carrier Abraham Lincoln than that sent to Venezuela. Like with Venezuela, it is ready, willing, and able to rapidly fulfill its mission with speed and violence if necessary. Hopefully, Iran will quickly come to the table and negotiate a fair and equitable deal. No nuclear weapons, one that is good for all parties. Time is running out. It is truly of the essence. As I told Iran once before, make a deal. They didn't, and there was Operation Midnight Hammer, a major destruction of Iran. The next attack will be far worse. Don't make that happen again. Thank you for your attention to this matter. Bringing us out to this live image that we have of the White House over in Washington, D.C. And I just want to recap some of the latest reporting courtesy of the Associated Press. So as we did break the fact that the president has announced that a massive armada is heading to Iran via his social media platform, Truth Social, the AP most recently also saying this, that President Trump warned also other countries there in that area, including Iraq, this happening on Tuesday, that the U.S. would no longer support the country if its former prime minister returns to power. Concerning Iraq, Trump made the threat days after the dominant political bloc known as the Coordination Framework, which is a collection of parties, announced it was backing the nomination of the former prime minister, who the U.S. administration views as too close to Iran. Now, a lot of headlines were coming out of the Middle East this week. As you know, also the final remains of a hostage that was still being held by Hamas were returned as well to Israel. We're following all of these developments very closely, but these protests in Iran do continue as well. The AP saying this, that Iranian officials reached out to the wider Middle East on Wednesday, so today, over the threat of a possible U.S. military strike on the country. It comes a month since the start of protests in Iran that soon spread nationwide and sparked a bloody crackdown. Two nations, Saudi Arabia and the United Arab Emirates, have signaled they will not allow their airspace to be used for any attack, but America has moved the USS Abraham Lincoln and several guided missile destroyers into the region, which can be used to launch attacks from the sea. And that goes back to the post that we showcased from President Trump. Now, it remains unclear what President Trump will decide about using force, though he laid down two red lines: the killing of peaceful demonstrators and the possible mass execution of detainees. The protests saw more than 6,000 people killed as Iran launched a bloody crackdown on those demonstrations, with many others feared dead. That's according to what activists had to say on Wednesday. Now, monitoring the situation very closely, also Iran's state-run media, which now only refers to protesters as terrorists, remains the sole source of news for many.
Okay. Well, so I gather they still have their internet off. It's been about 3 weeks now. So, well, you all heard that, okay? Trump sending fleets over there, clearly bringing the smoke. Roddy says, since when do presidents announce live what moves their military is making? Well, since Trump got in office, beloveds, and not only does he announce these things live, he's always on social media. I mean, his entire administration is really Cash Patel, putting the FBI's business on there. Okay, Pete Hegseth, all of them. They love social media. With that all being said, I'm about to end this broadcast, but before I do, I want to say rest in peace and condolences to white folks. For those of you that follow white folks on social media, specifically TikTok, white folks died in a motorcycle crash. I didn't find out until last night, but white folks has been dead since MLK Day. So I'm going to play a news report on him and a couple of his videos in closing.
After a local social media influencer is killed in a motorcycle crash. Millington police have identified the victim as 50-year-old Jimmy McMahon, who is known as an entertainer and comedian in Memphis. WRG's Raven Copeland spoke with neighbors and McMahon's manager as his family prepares for his funeral.
About halfway down, he came off the bike and his body went into the car, and the bike kept going until it crashed into the other cars and bounced across the street.
And he was laying right where you see the orange places marked, and he was laying there then that's when someone called.
People who live in this Millington neighborhood are describing a deadly motorcycle crash that happened Monday afternoon. Just after 4 p.m., police, crime scene tape, a wrecked motorcycle, and 2 damaged cars could be seen in the 4700 block of Saratoga Road. Millington police say the driver lost control of the motorcycle and crashed into 2 parked cars. Neighbors who did not want to be interviewed on camera told WREG about the traumatic scene they witnessed Monday.
Hey, baby mama, hey, you need to get up with me. Tell me what area code you want to move in. Get what? I got you. Get what? Whatever area code you want to go in. Ooh, hold on, these hoes so sticky. Hold on. Yeah, There they go.
There they go.
Yeah, hey, if you found a fab in these beats, get what you can have the whole bankroll. Fuck ass turn out.
I'm with.
3-7 fat.
I'm with.
On that.
Yeah.
Hey, I'll see you later. Yeah, that's for sure. I'll see you later. For sure. On my neck. He's from South Memphis.
Okay. And your original dad, how did he, if you don't mind me asking, how did he pass away in Texas?
He was on his way to work on a motorcycle at a red light. Early in the morning, he got struck from behind by a drunk driver. Yeah.
Wow. Man, sorry.
That's his son. His son said that it took him 2 hours to get to town where his father was. And when he got there, his father was still laying in the road. The ambulance didn't come till 30 minutes after he arrived. Laid out there for 2.5 hours, dying in the road. Rest in peace to white folks. With that all being said, I hope you all enjoyed the broadcast. Above all that drama, said his daddy was killed on a bike too. Yeah. Yep. Same way. And white folks was the same age his youngest child is when his father died. I think his youngest child just turned 6, and white folk was 5 or 6 when his father died too. Okay, so anyway, with that all being said, everyone please like, share, subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so already. I may be back later, but don't hold your breath. Okay, but if there's some breaking news, for sure I'll be back. All right, so I love you all to life. Each one teach one. That's how we grow and thrive. Do something productive, constructive, but never destructive. And always remember, beloveds, to keep the Most High first in your lives. Until next time, peace.
Gold all in my skin, God all in my blood, kings all in my circle. You touch one of mine and you're done. They show no love for the queen. Why you hating on me? Is it cause I'm free and I got Malcolm X in my jeans? I got dreams like King Luther, shed blood like Kunta. You ain't helping my people, I ain't got nothing to say to ya. I want all the smoke like hookah. Talking reparations, America won't be great until they give us compensation. I'm like, I'm the hottest right now. See a bunch of lames out here trying to jock on my style. They be doing too much. I'm the queen, it's too easy. It's like they all at Popeyes, how they be talking so greasy. I just sit back and laugh while these haters get madder. So nefarious how they don't want my pockets with cheddar. I tell them they can do better. These snakes in the grass can leave a bite on your ass, cause y'all be trusting too fast. I got my foot on the gas, other one on they necks. Dropping receipts on haters, you better show some respect. I'm never facing regrets, we only facing the threats. Running through every challenge like a relay, break no sweat. It's a cold game, so I got that blanket with me. Now that my people awaken, ain't no going to sleep. I do not play by my piece. This time I'm playing for keeps. You talking slick, but when I see you like them ends, we gon' meet. And I got gold all in my skin, God all in my blood, kings all in my circle. You touch one of mine and you done. They show no love for the queen. Why they hating on me? Is it cause I'm free and I got Malcolm X in my jeans and I got gold all in my skin, God all in my blood, kings all in my circle. You touch one of mine and you done. They show no love for the queen. Why they hating on me? Is it cause I'm free and I got Malcolm X in my jeans and I got